Welcome everybody. My name is Michael Shimonov, and tonight we're going to present emotional fitness. As we all know that our lives is nothing more but our emotions. You know, what's the quality of life? Is the quality of the emotions. Before that, I'd like to sincerely express my gratitude for all you coming here. Thank you so much, and you many that like to learn and grow. Welcome, welcome. So the quality of our life is nothing but our emotions. Is this something that we could control at any given moment, or it depends on outside stimulus? Like, can we choose our emotions? Is there something we could do to choose our emotions at any given moment? Something happens to me, I feel wonderful, great, wow, beautiful. Something else happens to me, I feel, oh, like dirt, you know, ready to kill someone, you know. If I'm in a happy state of mood, I go around, I walk, you know. Somebody comes to me and says, hey, Michael, how you doing? Oh, yeah, honey, how are you? You know, I'm great, you know. And if I feel not so good, you know what happens? Somebody else comes to me and says, hey, Michael, how is it? Yeah, what do you want from me? Right? So it's like, you know, where am I in this process? You know, how is it? So can we choose our emotions? Yes, our emotions can be strengthened. And everybody say, oh, you know, like I say, I'm doing an emotional fitness, I call it emotional fitness club, right? So they ask me, are you emotionally fit? I'm like, yes, I'm working on it, you know, but what tools? You know I go to the gym, I pick up a dumbbell and I start work out, you know, I see the result of muscle. But how am I emotionally? You know, I can't take, you know, I could see a heart rate, for example, but I can't take, you know, what's the measurement of my emotions? You know, it's like sometimes you walk on the street, you know, people walk with the sad faces, you say good morning, they go good morning like that, and then they continue with the sour faces, right? So, so those emotions like anger, frustration, you know, on the other hand is euphoria, happiness, gratitude, right? So, what triggers the behavior? The state we are in triggers the behavior. Okay, so if I'm in a happy state of mind, right, I could behave totally different than if I am in a negative state of mind, right? For example, if I have to make a decision and I'm totally happy and I'm grateful, you know, everything just happens for me, right? I am on the roll, so to speak. I could have completely different behaviors and you know, I do things differently than if I'm in a different state of mind. You know, anger, frustration. You know, then I'll behave completely different, right? I could lash at someone. I could have something. You know, I could do some negative stuff with that. So with that, of course, on a state. What triggers how can we change our state at any given moment? Is our physiology. Okay, for example, if you know, you tell me, guys, you know, how the sad person, how is his physiology, sad or what's it called? The person who is depressed, for example, where is his shoulders usually? You tell me. His shoulders down, right? Well, how is his facial expression? Is down, right? Is all sluggish, right? Does he move a lot? He doesn't usually move a lot, right? So on the other hand, if you're happy state, where is somebody's shoulders? That they up, right? And the facial expression tuned up, right? So our physiology triggers our state, and then we could Therefore, we can change our state by choice. If I want to change, for example, how many of you sometimes there's car moving with their favorite music and it's just stop on the light and it's bonging, so you start just somehow moving, right? Why? Because the internal we're going to say that there is representation, what we focus, how we speak to ourselves, and what meaning we're going to give to it. Then it will trigger the state, right? And we go into physiology, and then it triggers the behavior. And then of course you start moving, dancing, or there's one of the examples. So these three representation state in physiology, they intertwine. Why? Because you could change your state by physiology, or you could change your state by representation. What you focus, how you speak to yourself, and what meaning you give. So there is a story that very well describes that. It describes us very well. The story is there's a person that he had a bad toe, right? And somebody comes and let's say his wife comes and steps on it. First time. Second time, somebody else steps on it, and it's totally different person. His wife goes, "Oh, why don't you watch your step? Watch where you're going." Right? He's already hurt from the toe, and he goes to his office, and all of a sudden he's busy with somebody, and someone steps on the toe. He can't take it. He goes like, "Oh, what is it?" All of a sudden he looks at the boss, and that's his boss. It's like, oh my God, right away he changed all the representations and everything. He said, "Oh, Mr. Jones, is that you?" Especially he asked him for a raise not long ago. So right now he's totally changed all the representations. Instead of being angry, he's right. Oh yeah, he's totally cool and calm. He forgot about the pain already. Obviously, right? So what we focus on, what we say to ourselves, right, and what meaning we're gonna give to things, right? So there's another story that let's say the person, there was two people that they were working at the one company for 20 years, and the company decided that they need to fire these guys and hire some new people, more younger, more ambitious, and more productive. So they decided they fired these two guys, and these two guys, they were buddies, and they started from college. They started in the same company. So what happens when they heard this news? One of them said, "Oh my God, I worked for this company for 20 years. Now my life is over." And he went into depression mode and whatnot. The other guy, on the other hand, he gave different meaning. He says, "Oh my God, out of all people, how could my boss fire me? I know all the ins and outs. I know everything about this company. My boss, he didn't think straight. I'm going to open the same company." So he gathered his savings, he gathered other investors, and he opened up the same company, right? So the meaning we come up at the moment, it triggers the emotion, and therefore, as we say, the emotions. So the moment we come up with the meaning, it triggers the emotion. So as we said that emotion is meaning and emotion is life. Okay, so meaning and emotion. So as we say that, right? So as we say, twin forces of life, meaning and emotion. So what meaning we give to the things, it will trigger the emotion, and therefore we could control. By changing the meaning, we could change the emotions. Okay? So yes, representation, what we do within our mind, state we go in, and what behavior we do, and also by physiology. For example, how many of you had the feeling that where you were unstoppable? Like you know what your outcome was, and you know that you could get it with no problem. You know, you have pictured the outcome and you know it. How many of you have this kind of experience, right? Everybody, right? I see some smiles, man. Why don't we all stand up? We're gonna try something now with our bodies. Okay, so let's go in a mode where we feel hope. How do we stand when we hope? What do we do with our body when we hope? Do the hopeful. You know what's your facial expression? What do you focus on? What do you say to yourself when you're hopeful? When you're in hope, what do you do? Do you move a certain way? You know, I hope it's going to work out. You know, you have something that you want, and you know, I hope it's going to work out. You're not sure. You want it to work out, and yet you're not sure if it's going to work out. So you say, I hope it's going to work out. I hope it's going to work out, right? So you could get the feeling by focusing your mind on certain things and what you say to yourself and how do you envision stuff, right? So now go from this mode into fearful mode. You know, like, oh my God, what's going to be? I don't know what's going to be. Total uncertainty. How do you move? What do you say to yourself? What's your facial expression? Do you move? Do you sit? What do you say to yourself? How does it affect you? You know, when you're absolutely fearful, right? Everybody get that feeling? Very nice. Now from this state go to absolute certainty. There's no doubts in your mind that it's going to work out. You know, how would you stand? What would you say to yourself? How would your facial expression be? Right? There's no doubt that this thing is going to work out 100%. How would you stand? Okay? What would you say to yourself? You see, I see a lot of people's faces already changed. That more determination in the faces. What? Right? Why? Because what we focus on, what we say to ourselves, we could change how we feel, right? And how long it takes? Hard. What? The only thing we gotta do is now. Thank you very much. Give yourself a hand. Have a seat. Okay, so all we have to do is decide how we want to feel. We have to decide how we want to feel at any given moment. If I'm sad and I'm fearful, I could decide. I say, you know what? I have to move my body a certain way. I have to say to myself certain things, and I'm going to feel certain feelings. That's the only way I could change my feelings is by deciding of what this is going to be. Okay, so what is really life? Life is up and down, right? We always, there's always going up, and then sometimes going down. Sometimes per person, it's like a heartbeat. Sometimes it goes up. I was once with my grandfather. We went in the hospital, and there was not anybody to cover me, so I went there, and they put him at the heart, to check his cardiogram. And I'm there, and it's beeping, so I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, look at this. Isn't that a metaphor for life? So sometimes your life is, up and down, up and down, up and down. Sometimes it goes up, and you go like, oh my God, it's great, I have everything handled, right? And all of a sudden it goes all the way down, like, oh my God, what's happening, right? So that's like metaphor of life, but all of us, we're looking for what? We're looking for balance. Right, we're all striving for balance, but balance is a straight line, and it's not what we want to be, right? So, okay, so change change is constant. You know, like we saw this diagram, up and down, up and down. It's all constantly changing. There's no plateau in life. Either we going up or either we going down. Either we becoming emotionally strong, either we become emotionally weak.